Hello, basement dwellers. In spite of this quarantine, we will continue doing the show. Welcome to the basement, but obviously it's going to change quite a bit. This is going to be an ongoing process. I've tried to preserve the spatial integrity of the show, which you'll see what that means in just a few minutes. And as a result, there might be some technical problems, some lapses in quality in certain aspects of the show that we're going to be working on as the weeks go by. So bear with us through those. If you have any suggestions on how to improve certain aspects of the show and want to give constructive criticism, feel free to do that in the comments. And we're glad that you can keep joining us here in the basement, watching the show that we love to do for you and having the interaction that we love to have with you. And it's a weird time. It's a hard time. You already know that. I don't need to tell you that. So all I will say is I hope you're ready to relax and enjoy yourself because it's time to watch a movie. Craig, can you hear me?
Yes, Matt. Can you hear me?
Thanks for joining me virtually here in the basement. I hope that your family is healthy.
Yes, we are.
And I understand that your family is a little bit larger.
Yes, we've been eating a lot because we haven't been able to go outside. But also, we have had a second child.
Oh, well, congratulations.
It's a boy. His name's Santino.
Little Sonny. Here's a picture of the little tyke. We took this right before everything went on lockdown.
One of the first things that attracted me to his mother was the fact that we were both Godfather fans, and so we named our child after a brutal, abusive man. Santino Corleone.
Are you going to stick with the mustache?
No, I'm growing this mustache in protest. When I'm allowed to go back out in the world, no one will ever know this happened, as long as there's no video proof of it.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. Well, I've got our movie here, and we're going to watch it. Adventures. We've had quite a few of them on this show. The world is going through kind of a crappy adventure right now, but the adventures that we've had in the basement have been great. We've adventured through Sherwood Forest with Robin Hood, and across the 8th dimension with Buckaroo Banzai. We've had Grouchland adventures with Elmo the Muppet, and Christmas adventures with Beethoven the dog. Sadie, stop doing that. Tonight, we adventure again, and of all the adventures we've had, I guarantee these will be the most fabulous. Yes, Queen. Tonight we experience the adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Wonderful! I have not seen this movie since the year it came out.
Released in 1994, TAOPQOTD stars Guy Pearce, Hugo Weaving, and Terence Stamp. It was written and directed by Stefan Elliott, and I was always under the mistaken impression that it was directed by Baz Luhrmann.
Me too. I thought that's what you were going to say.
The film was a surprise hit, introducing LGBT themes to a mainstream audience 26 years ago. It won an Oscar for Best Costume Design, and it remains a cult classic in its native Australia and abroad. For your gift, I've decided to pay tribute to this film by giving you something flamboyant, sassy, and eye-catching.
You'll have to open that one for me, Matt.
It's Wacky Waving Inflatable Tube Guy.
Get that to my house somehow, Matt. Lorenzo loves those things. I'm not a fan, but whenever there's up, I have to go drive around the block 15 times so we can see it a whole bunch of times.
So get dressed up real fancy, get into your RV, and razzle-dazzle your way on over to the old leather couch, where we're about to enjoy the adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Are you ready, my little robot friend?
Yes, I am ready to enjoy Australian gay men. I think this movie will be a horrifying sequence of events.
Nice. Mitzi is a drag performer, and she's bored.
Christ almighty.
Crocky on a cracker!
Hello?
It's Galadriel. You're needed at the elf homeland. Mitzi is her stage name. His name is Tick.
Hugo Weaving's trying to get out of the Matrix. I believe this is how it's done.
Mr. Anderson. And he gets a call from his friend Bernadette. Trumpet is dead. Bernadette is an older transsexual, and Trumpet is her young husband. Tick gets a gig in Alice Springs.
You have to get your mind off things. Why don't you come with me?
I can't just sit around here crying all the time.
When I could cry on a road trip.
Car keeps running.
She finds out that Adam is coming along, otherwise known as Felicia.
A desert holiday, let's pack the drag away.
I lose my memory. My tattoos help me.
She can't stand Adam.
Ever since I was a lad, I've had this dream to travel to the centre of Australia, climb King's Canyon as a queen, in a full-length Gautier sequin, heels and a tiara.
And no ropes, just chalk. I'm gonna free solo that thing.
A cock in a frock on a rock.
Oh, get back in your kennels, both of you.
Adam did collect a bus to use.
Ta-da!
Only one problem, you go underneath 55 kilometers an hour, it blows right up.
I hereby christen this budget Barbie camper Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
And they take off into the bush.
Kevin had one of those liposuction penis enlargements.
He didn't.
Liposuction penis injections, that would be a Guy Pearce?
Oh, listen to yourselves.
You're like two Fran Dreschers.
Adam continues to be annoying, and so they just lock him out of the bus, and they say, have fun sleeping outside.
Open the fucking door!
Bye, Felicia.
I'm gonna sing.
Singing calls the dingoes.
It comes out that the woman who owns the hotel that they'll be performing at is Tick's wife.
I'm married.
And Christ knows I owe her a couple of favours.
Arty favors. Those things that spin and make noise, or the blowing things that unfurl.
Craig, you're making a mockery of this very touching scene.
I will mock a cock on a rock in a flock.
They stop for the night in a small town. They sashay all up and down the main drag. Bloody hell, that dress is fabulous.
Oh, Takarama. Who the hell does all the painting around here?
So this painting is tacky?
Chuckers.
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 Chuckers!
Chuckers?
And then they go out to a pub that night.
Bring the whole place to a screeching halt.
A stallion tonic, a Bloody Mary, and a lime daiquiri, please.
That's a horrible combination of drinks.
Look what the cat dragged in.
Emphasis on the word drag.
This woman tries to throw him out. We don't like your kind here.
And Bernadette shuts her down.
Why don't you just light your tampon and blow your box apart? Because it's the only bang you're ever gonna get, sweetheart.
Those three are gonna drink free all night. And everyone has a good time.
Adam makes a huge mistake on purpose. He calls Bernadette
Ralph! Come on. Oh.
Blah.
Sorry, Ralph.
Underneath all that Bernadette, there is a Terrence Stamp fist just waiting to come out. Kneel before Zod! They wake up the next morning to find a vandalized bus. Adam goes out to buy some paint. I'm not very draggy myself, but I would kill to do exactly what this person is doing.
The RV breaks down. Well, they've got nothing to do now, so they decide to paint the bus, get rid of those nasty words. Bernadette gets frustrated, and she decides to walk off and search for help. Just light these ants on fire, and we've got a Sam Peckinpah film. Traveling through the outback is tough.
Oh, looks like a woman.
Talks like a man, oh, it's Bernie.
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 I can't tell you how grateful I am.
So I won't.
Tony, Adam, this is Mr. and Mrs. Spencer.
That night, the boys are practicing a little I Will Survive Gloria Gaynor number.
Nice night for it.
He takes them back to his camp. I don't know what Sadie's doing behind me, but I'm sure it's distracting. Now it's time to do I Will Survive for real. Oh, no, not I. I will survive. Provided we can get the RV working again. And they break out their didgeridoos. Disco ridgeridoo. It's a real meeting of cultures. Come on, guys. Take only memories, leave only stiletto heel footprints. Adam shows Bernadette his prized possession.
What's this?
Madonna's pap smear. I bought it off some kid in Austin.
I went on a pilgrimage backstage to an ABBA concert. When I saw her ducking into the ladies' loo, naturally I followed her in, only to find she left me a little gift.
This is an ABBA turd?
No abattoired.
Finally, they meet a friendly man and get towed to a gas station.
Well, your gas tank's chock-a-block full of crud.
It's both chalk and block.
Bob invites the fellas home to dinner, and they meet his wife, Cynthia. She is a rather broadly drawn character.
Me like to sing too. Me like.
Bob seems to really not like his wife.
My wife used to be in the entertainment business.
And then she was in the Mail, and now she's my wife.
I saw a drag queen outfit.
Lay girls. Oh, yeah, I've seen them. Way back in Sydney when I was a young bloke.
You are looking at probably the most famous lay girl ever produced.
Now I am just un girl. He says they should perform a show at the local pub.
Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
This bar is even rusticer. The boys perform on top of the bar. Groove things are about to be shaken.
Yeah!
Cynthia shows up, and she does her thing. Her thing involves ping pong balls.
She has a special little trick.
I think you see where this is going.
I've never actually seen someone do this, nor do I really desire to, but I do want to know if it actually makes a noise when it happens.
She's compelled to do this. She can't help it. Cynthia leaves Bob. He decides to join the lads on the RV.
Bob is letting loose.
That's when we kiss and kiss and kiss, and then we kiss some more. Don't ask how many times we kiss
At least 4. They finally make it to the next town.
This is a pretty tough little town.
It's even more rusticer than the town we just came from. It's the rusticest. Bernadette and Tick go to dinner, and they have a nice long heart-to-heart.
Do you think an old queen's capable of raising a child?
Elizabeth did a pretty good job. Prince Charles is a wonderful boy.
Edward's still a bit of a worry.
You have no idea. That's still in the news these days. They tell Adam that he has to stay inside because he's just going to cause trouble. So he digs out some pills and he digs out a frock.
And goes to this beer party. It's a outdoor beer party?
It looks like the baby's eating the dingo. Once they realize that there's an Adam underneath that Felicia, they get very upset.
Oh, you wore the wrong shoes to run in. Felicia is cornered. Frank is upset.
Stop flexing your muscles, you big pile of fudgy turd.
Bernadette packs a wallop.
You can take the boy out of the limey, but you can't take the limey out of the boy. Adam is rescued.
Some things are said in the heat of the moment.
But nothing is said in the heat of the sun.
Sorry, I've got angry.
So, tell me about you.
Is this the Terrence Stamp guy-on-guy action we've been waiting for?
Madam.
I'm Madam. They continue driving on to Alice Springs. They get to the hotel, and Tick sees his wife, Marion Barber, for the first time in a long time. My wife! And he meets his son, Benji.
This floors the other guys. It literally floors Bernadette. So, it's a night of the big show.
Aren't we fabulous?
They do the big number. Finally, it happened to them. Finally!
Yeah, I forgot about this. This is how you win an Oscar, this outfit right here.
Tick has to find a way to relate to his son because he's going to be taking care of the boy for a while Marion goes on vacation.
Assumption, my dear Mitz, is the mother of all fuck-ups.
Assumption actually makes an ass out of you and Mshin.
He's very nervous. But what he doesn't know is that Benji is an enlightened little fella.
I'm not supposed to know about the ABBA show.
I'm also not supposed to know about the ABBA turd.
But I'd really like to see it.
It's the end of the run at Alice Springs.
Benji's all packed up, but Bernadette is not all packed up. I'm going to run the hotel while Marion goes on vacation. I think Bob's going to hang around for a while too, so we're going to see how that works out. Back in Sydney, Mitzi and Felicia are performing some ABBA.
Mamma Mia, does it show again?
Nobody's playing Benny and Bjorn? Come on! This is only an band. without the boys.
Or in the case of Tick, Papa Mia. Benji's there too. Tick has been shaken out of his rut. Freeze frame ending. The Adventures of Priscilla, Sovereign of the Desert.
Sovereign?
Just thought I'd mix it up a little bit. I thought it was a very even-handed portrayal of a very widely stereotyped group of people. Not just gay people, but also those in the drag profession.
What works is that there seems to be this spectrum where you have the extremely flamboyant Adam/Felicia, and you have the very reserved Bernadette.
Kind of like the Queer Eye fellas. There's a spectrum there, you know. They're not all Jonathans.
And the movie would be tiring if they were.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think of Terrence Stamp's performance?
I really, really like it.
Terrence Stamp commits fully to the character, but he is also still fully Terrence Stamp.
You got us into this, Anthony Belrose, and I suggest you start thinking about how to get us back.
There's nothing unrecognizable about what you know about that guy and other movies you've seen him in. He's still that guy, but he's also this woman.
I remember reading an interview with him back when this came out. At one point, he takes his earring off while he's talking to Tick in the diner. He sets it on the table, and he says that's something that he picked up from hanging out with Princess Di. I first saw this not long after it came out. It played on my campus. I was fully convinced that Adam equaled Guy Pearce. That Guy Pearce was that guy because it was such a huge performance. And it's so naive of me, particularly since I was a theater major. It's like, no, they're actors. But I just thought that the director just located this guy who was that guy.
Going back to Bernadette, there were several actors who were considered for the role, and here is a list of them. David Bowie, John Cleese, Tim Curry, Tony Curtis, and John Hurt.
Bowie and Curry would have been
on the nose. Cleese would have played it for laughs. He'd have been all wrong for the role. I think John Hurt, of course, would have been as good as Terrence Stamp.
Around that time, he did play, well, I never saw it, but in Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, he plays a woman or he plays a man who is a woman. It says, I don't know, I never saw it, but he did play that role basically around the same time. So why didn't you see this movie back in the 90s?
I just didn't get around to it. Same reason I haven't seen any of these movies that we watch on this show.
What thrilled us back then was the flamboyance, was the cattiness. It's like, oh, we're getting a little peek into this world. While watching it now, the moments, I found those moments kind of obnoxious, while the things that really resonated with me were the more intimate moments.
The human moments.
Watching Bob and Bernadette drifting towards each other, I found to be one of the most memorable things. Back when I first saw it, one of the most memorable things was Bob's wife and her little trick that she does at the bar.
Cynthia, the character, has not aged well.
No. No.
What did you think about the way the movie used flashbacks?
What they had to do was find the one moment in each of their lives, which was kind of indicative of who they became.
The inciting moment, yeah. I think the fact that they were so brief and so specific was a good choice. Do you have any criticisms of the film?
So something that doesn't hold up, as far as I'm concerned, is the shock that Tick's friends have that he was once married and also that he has a kid. The fact that he's bisexual or not even quite certain what he is something that is more normal to our time than it was back then. The cruelty of his friends seems kind of cruel now, as opposed to kind of funny back then.
I think that the film does read as a period piece.
Yeah.
You can look at it in context and still see, you know, where they're at. Just as you can look at the boys in the band and, you know, same thing, even though some of them are flamboyant to the point of caricature.
Something also that isn't as powerful now as it would have been back in the 90s was the AIDS panic that is only really addressed once in the entire movie.
I'm glad that AIDS didn't show up more in the story because this is not a message movie.
No, it's not. And that's why I like it.
So if you were a drag performer, what would your stage name be?
Glenda Close. My drag would just be Glenn Close.
Damn it, I can't top that. Wait a minute. I have a drag name.
Okay, what?
Manfred Woman. Well, that was The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and now it's time for us to sashay our fine selves on over to Seen It.
Seen It. David Kuchera writes, Dolemite is my name. As soon as the Sly and Family Stone kicked in, I knew I was going to love it. Do not watch this film without good, bassy speakers. Seen it.
I put my weight on it, and I've seen it.
Dolemite is My Name is the story of, what's his name, Matt? We did a movie with him in it.
Rudy Ray Moore.
I was expecting to like this movie, and I did. And then the next day, I just wanted to watch it again. That feeling is the type of feeling I had back in the 80s watching Eddie Murphy movies.
It's so great to see Eddie Murphy doing something that's obviously a passion project.
Oh, yeah.
And bringing all of his talent and enthusiasm to it. It's just a pleasure to watch. But I must say that the man who steals the show in the movie is Wesley Snipes, who plays D'Urville Martin, director of Dolemite. He is simultaneously the weirdest character in the movie and the sanest.
It's a artist with a dream movie and a let's watch a bad artist make bad art comedy.
It starts off as the Black Lenny, and it becomes the Black Disaster Artist.
You really grow to appreciate this guy. You can laugh at him, but at the same time be like, come on, Rudy Ray. You can do this. Make this crappy movie and make it for America.
Ben Holloman writes, what's a movie in recent memory that you've seen that was absolutely amazing and that almost no one talks about? Something Wild. Not the one from the 80s. It's Something Wild from 1961, which was directed by Jack Garfein. He only directed 2 movies. This was the second one. He did a movie with Ben Gazzara that kind of got some notice. Everyone thought he was going to be the next Elia Kazan, and then he made Something Wild, and it flopped, and they never let him make a movie again.
Director's jail.
It's too bad, because Something Wild is one of the most extraordinary films I have ever seen. I hate to use the phrase on the edge of your seat, but you are for every second of this movie. And Ralph Meeker is in the movie.
He's one of the most underrated actors.
His performance it's so strange and it's so crazy. The movie, okay, so it's not an easy movie to watch. It starts off with a scene that is very difficult to get through. That's the inciting incident that kind of propels this character through this thing. And she meets Ralph Meeker and it gets crazy. I've never seen anything like it. And there's a quote from the director that I want to read here regarding this film. Accept the fact that things are mysterious.
That's a very Catholic sentiment. How can there be a tripartite trinity of a God? It's like, embrace the mystery. Okay. Derek Ellman writes, seen it? Knives Out. It was a movie that was only about a third of the movie I thought it would be going in, and I loved every second of it. I don't know what you mean by that, but I have seen it.
Seen it.
When I first saw the preview, the entire time I thought, this movie's trying a little bit too hard. And then I saw the movie and it's like, oh no, it's trying exactly as hard as it needs to try. It knows what movie it wants to be, and it goes out and becomes that movie. I was just absolutely smitten by that movie. Matt, not so much.
I didn't think much of it. I had the opposite experience of you. I saw that preview and I thought, whoa, this movie's going to be amazing. And the movie just kind of let me down. It's fun to hear Daniel Craig talk about donut holes within donut holes. That's all well and good.
And to hear him sing Sondheim alone in his car.
But they have this amazing cast of characters that they set up. Don Johnson, Michael Shannon, Toni Collette. They give them these juicy motives, and then they just kind of float away into the background. I was really disappointed at that.
In 20 years... Knives Out is going to be like one of the 3 movies that they'll still be talking about from 2019 on a mass level. Fun for the whole family, unless Matt's in your family.
Whether you like Knives Out or not, there is one thing that is undeniable. It is a shandango.
Oh, it is.
Fran Newhouse writes, I know Matt's not the biggest Noah Baumbach fan, but I wonder if you've seen Mistress America. I found it to be charming and hilarious. Seen it.
Seen it.
It's so rare to find a movie that's this smart and that also delivers the jokes. Like a good comedy, joke after joke after joke. Tona and I watched this and we just laughed all night long.
It's that kind of like very awkward, tense comedy.
It's another story of the New York losergentia, but it's not infuriating because you actually like the person who keeps getting in her own way.
She's a likable sociopath.
It's just got such great, smart jokes. I'm an autodidact. Do you know that word? That's one of the words I taught myself. So, Fran, I have to tell you that after seeing Mistress America and Marriage Story, I've done a complete 180 on Noah Baumbach. I can't wait to see what he does next.
Thanks, Fran.
There's a place that you can go that's flashy and fabulous in its own way, and that's our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see all the episodes we've ever made, and I know you got some time on your hands, so you can dig deep back into the back catalog. And there are PayPal donation buttons. You can click on those and make a contribution to support this show, if you so desire.
Anyone do that you know of, Matt?
We've got a couple of donors here. Rebecca Rogers. I have recently been binge-watching all of Beer and Board Games and Welcome to the Basement over the last handful of months. They give my brain a little respite while I battle extreme loneliness and depression after leaving a very abusive relationship last year. I'm sorry to hear that, Rebecca.
We are happy that you're out of that relationship.
Best celeb encounter that I've had is I got to interview Elizabeth Coffey for a project in grad school. She was only in 2 movies, but most famous for being Chick with a Dick in Pink Flamingos. And then we've got Joseph, who says Eleanor Roosevelt got her style from Margaret Dumont. Tin Men.
Hey, you can also like us on Facebook.
To find out who the rest of our donors are and to see the exciting contents of our mail crate, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday. Thanks for watching the adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert with us, you fine, sexy thing. And now you can watch this. Ready for you. I already sent it. Oh.
Aren't we fabulous?